Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. I'm going to start off doing the UFC 312 prelim predictions today, and tomorrow I'm going to post the main card. And I'm just going to do it this way, break it up into 2 days. I think it'll be easier for me, maybe also more exciting for you guys. So yeah, that's what we're going to do this week. Let me know how you guys like it. But yeah, we're just doing the prelims today. And let's start off with Hyun Park versus Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. So I think this is going to be a decision. And I was watching back both of their fights, and they look pretty equal in their ability and speed and all that. And like even their techniques look similar. I'm guessing that this is just going to be like a scramble for 3 rounds. And the judges are going to give it to the undefeated guy, who is Hyun Park, because that's just how it goes in the UFC if the fight is close. Yeah, and I also checked how they both looked at their previous face-offs, because I actually find for intuition picks this is pretty telling, like checking how the vibes are. And I would say that Hyun Park looked a little better, so I'm just going to pick him. I think it makes more sense, and I really do think this is going to be a decision. So, yeah. Okay, let's move on to Kody Steele versus Rongzhu. So, as we all know, Rongzhu went out in his previous fight because it looked like his left eyeball was about to explode. So I hope his eyesight has recovered since then. Something that I've noticed actually in Rongzhu's record that aligns with his performance is that he basically loses to anybody that is marginally faster than him, and he just crumbles. So, and the latest example of this we've seen is in his fight with Chris Padilla, where he just couldn't keep up and eventually just got sliced really bad with an elbow. So yeah, the only examples I've seen of Rongzhu winning are against other Asians. Also, something I've seen from Kody Steele is that he's been consistently knocking people out. I'm not sure that Rongzhu is going to get totally knocked out in this fight. I definitely think he's going to enter this one with a little bit of past PTSD from the Chris Padilla situation. But yeah, I just think that Kody Steele is going to get the upper hand in this one, and yeah, I think he's gonna win. Okay, let's move on. Next fight, Quillian Salkilld versus Anshul Jubli. So I'm taking Quillian by KO, personally, okay? For those of you that don't know, Anshul is from Uttarakhand, India. I was just there. And also, for those of you that don't know, this is a state in India that is primarily vegetarian. Many of them have actually never even tried meat in their lives. Many of them also don't eat eggs, okay? So I'm not gonna get too into the details of what happens to a person with omega-3 deficiency. But let's just say that this guy's reaction time is probably not going to be up to par, So that's one thing. And in his last fight with Mike Breeden, we literally saw an example of this. We saw him doing decent damage, at least for like the first little bit. And then, yeah, that was up until Mike Breeden realized he was fighting a bobblehead and just ended it. Like you could see the switch in his facial reaction where he was like, "Oh, wait a second! I could just finish this guy. What am I doing?" And he just did just like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Anshul has like any advantage in this fight at all. So, Quillian by KO. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have Kevin Jousset and Jonathan Micallef. I'm picking Kevin Jousset. I just feel like after Kevin's fight with Brian Battle, some dude that just came off the Contender Series feels like a bit of a downgrade. I saw moments in Jonathan Micallef's fight with Alden Bates where he just ate combinations to the face. And honestly, I feel like this is something that would never happen with Kevin Jousset. I just think he's on a different level, I don't know exactly actually why he's being paired with this guy that just came off the Contender Series, unless there's something I'm totally missing. Yeah. Also, I think Kevin is just slicker on the feet. He has better boxing, and also from what I've seen, Jonathan starts looking really heavy, like after the first 2 minutes, you know? So I don't know. Like, I just feel like he's probably gonna gas. Yeah, and Kevin Jousset has good cardio. I'm picking Kevin Jousset. Okay, let's move on to Aleksander Topuria versus Colby Thicknesse. There is nothing thick about that guy, first of all. If that's how you pronounce his last name, I don't know. But this is both of these dudes' first times in the UFC, so let's see what happens. But naturally, it's hard for me to pick against the guy who's literally Ilia Topuria's brother. Also, from the clips that I've seen, it seems that Aleksander possesses like the same kind of intense, savagely energy as Ilia. And he loves to drag dudes to the ground who look, who have Colby's lanky kind of build. I'm not saying he's super lanky, but like that kind of build, yeah, he drags them down to the ground and then smushes them. So I feel like this is going to be a similar kind of situation. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Topuria because I feel like it's just the logical choice, unless I'm completely missing something. Unless he's like one of these big, strong, stupid dudes, because that happens sometimes where like a guy will look super promising and then he's just like strong and stupid. So I think that's not the case here. I'm picking Aleksander Topuria, okay? All right, let's move on to the next one. Cong Wang versus Bruna Brasil. Guys, I'm picking Bruna Brasil, and let me tell you why, okay? So Cong Wang was minus 1,000 favorite in her last fight with Gabriela Fernandez, who was a plus 600 underdog. And guess what? She got choked out in round 2. So I think the only thing she really has going for her is her explosiveness and aggressiveness, but this like doesn't mean shit. We've seen these fighters before who are explosive and aggressive. Like Jan Jonan is the first similarity that's coming to mind. Is like, okay, cool, like you're explosive, but where's your technique? So this is kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Also, like getting completely choked out the way she did in her fight with Gabriela Fernandez was like extremely embarrassing, especially being like minus 1,000 favorite. Yeah, I also like Bruna Brasil has been steadily getting better. I have confidence in her abilities, and yeah, I just can't endorse somebody who's like completely unaware. You guys know how I feel about people who can't be present in the octagon. Yeah, I really do feel like Cong Wang's gonna get her ass kicked again, and people have been underestimating Bruna Brasil. Like she's been like the underdog so many times now, and yeah, this time I'm picking her. I think she's gonna win, especially against somebody who's completely unaware. So yeah, that's my thought on that. Okay, let's move on now to Tom Nolan and Viacheslav Barschev. So my initial thought on this, okay, was Viacheslav Barschev. I was like, okay, he, has more experience. He's more well-rounded overall. But the longer I thought about it, the more I felt like Tom Nolan's probably going to win. And let me explain. So I feel like Viacheslav Barschev is more of a defensive fighter. I notice he really doesn't like to get hit these days. And for him to even land anything, he would have to lunge forward a lot more. And Tom Nolan is really long. Okay, so this is what I think is gonna lead to him winning, is just because he has such a huge reach advantage. He's like 6'3", which is crazy for this division. So yeah, I just feel like Borsch is gonna miss a whole lot, and Tom Nolan is just gonna get the points, And the thing is, like, Borsch eats a lot of damage. He doesn't crumble, but he definitely doesn't dance away like MVP. So I feel like this also might be a decision. Just because like it takes a lot to put out Borsch, as we saw, many times, and especially with the Chase Hooper situation. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Tom Nolan. I think he's got a slight advantage here that could really help him out. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's move on to Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. And you know what? I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos. I feel like Jack Jenkins won his last fight with Herbert Burns because, you know, Herbert Burns just decided to quit and let him win. As we saw, we all saw what happened with Herbert Burns. Like, he just freaking gave up after the first round. And I think from what I've seen with Jack Jenkins, he kind of prevails in these situations where his opponent is a little slower than him. And Gabriel Santos is a pretty high, like, fast-paced dude. So, you know, as we saw in his fight with Daniel Zellhuber, and I know he, like, lost that fight by, I think, a split decision, but it was a super high-paced fight, and, like, there were moments in that fight where Daniel Zellhuber was, like, just confused and didn't know what to do with Gabriel Santos. So, yeah, and I think for Jack Jenkins, this fight is gonna go how it went for him with the Chepe Mariscal fight, where Chepe Mariscal was always one step ahead and therefore the more offensive fighter, which pushed Jack to be in a defensive position, you know, and then I think he got submitted in round 2, something like that. Anyhow, yeah, I just think Gabriel Santos is going to be the more aggressive one. I think he's going to put Jack Jenkins on the back foot, and yeah. But, you know, I'm also seeing a decision here because Jack Jenkins is a tough brick. I don't think he's going to get, you know, I don't think he's going to go down that easily. Picking Gabriel Santos, yeah, probably by decision. Okay, now let's move on to the last fight from the prelims. Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. I think I'm going to pick Francisco Prado. I've noticed that Jake Matthews doesn't fully commit to his attacks. Like, he'll pull back before he even makes contact with his opponent, and, you know, like, he'll shoot a kick and then, like, pull back before it even lands. And I just feel like this is not a good technique against someone who is incredibly offensive and high output like Francisco Prado. And, you know, this works against someone who's also slow, like has a bit of a slower pace, like Phil Rowe, who he won against. But, you know, he also lost against Michael Morales, who, you know, is more offensive. I'm not comparing Francisco Prado completely to Michael Morales, but I just don't think that this is like a beneficial matchup for Jake Matthews. So, yeah, I'm picking Francisco Prado. Again, like, I've seen this pattern so many times, and I just like it. It's really not a good not a good thing for a more cautious fighter like Jake Matthews to be paired with someone who is gonna put them on the back foot the entire time, which is what I think is gonna happen. Yeah, so that's it for the prelims, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to cover the main card, so do look forward to that. You know, you can turn on the notification bell if you want to get notified when I put that out. It'll probably be, actually, for you guys, I don't know what time it would be. In Japan, it would be somewhere around the afternoon, so maybe you can see how that aligns with the time zone you're in. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my predictions this time. I will also be posting an updated prediction video when the face-offs and the weigh-ins happen, because I feel like that is truly when my picks get good. Like, those vibe picks are the best in my opinion, because, you know, you can look at all these guys' records and their past fights, but I think, you know, the day before, seeing all of both of their energies is really what is the most telling thing in figuring out who will win or not. So do look forward to that as well. I'm coming out with all the videos this week, so yeah. Anyhow, see you guys. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.